Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, let's see. Um, okay, so let me delete this. I think we already did it. Now, suppose we created this payload.java file where we have our JSON. So instead of this Java file, we can also create a JSON file. So let's see how we can do that. So what we will say, okay, let's create a new file, and the type of the file is file, and let's say the name is you can give any name actually, but let's say for now payload dot json. Okay, so let's create one file. Okay, now inside this file, suppose, okay, it's saying, okay, IDs, because this is a JSON file, so it's asking to show ID extensions for this file type, and let me install. So if you install it, it will format the things very nicely. So we can install this from Eclipse Marketplace. So there are lots of editors like this high Json and this. So let's see which we can install. Maybe JSON editor plugin we can install. You can install anything maybe. So let's try this one first and see whether it is working fine for us. So I accept the terms and condition and just finish. Warning installing. Okay, install anyway. So restart now. Okay, so it will restart the Eclipse. Okay, so now let's go to this post API here, and we were providing. So if you go to the post API here, this post one, and we are providing the body, right? Payload dot add user. So instead this, we can provide some other way. Let's see how we can do that. So instead of doing like this, what we can do, we can provide the payload dot JSON file, right? So what we can do, um, so file is files dot read read by bytes, right? So read by bytes. Okay, and here let's say PATL path dot. Before that, let's see, not path, maybe paths. So I will explain this code. Just give me a second. Paths dot get, and here inside this get we can say the, okay, let's see first what is the error. Add throws declaration. So all the errors is gone. Now what we are saying, okay, since we have payload.json in a file, so that's why we are saying files. Okay, file read all bytes. What does this mean? Is like it can read data from JSON file. Okay, and here path.get, we are providing the path of the JSON file. So what is the path of JSON file? Payload.json. So let's see what is the path of payload.json here, right? Inside the files. So this is the path. So let's right click here and see the path. So this is the path. Let's copy it here. Okay, I think we can copy the whole till payload JSON, right? So let's copy the whole. So cancel it and provide this whole path. So what we are saying, from this path, take the JSON file. Okay, so read all bytes. This will read, the data from the JSON file, and the paths dot get method is used to fetch the path of the JSON file. Okay, so now we got the payload JSON. Now in the payload JSON, what we can have, you can have, the JSON. Like if you go here, so suppose the post one, this one, right? You want to create a user, so this is the body. So you can have this one. So just copy it here and just paste it here, JSON file. That's it. Done. Now if you execute this, and one more thing, our script was failing because it is not, when it's creating and updating, it's not saving in the server or database somewhere. That's why when we were doing the git, it was failing. So for now I will just comment this part. Okay, maybe we can comment this whole, we don't need it now, so I will just comment this whole part. So we are trying to understand how we can take the data from payload.json file, and that JSON is the static JSON. If you see, right, it's not changing. We will talk about the dynamic JSON maybe after this. So for now, static JSON means this JSON is fixed here, right? There is nothing in changing. So now let's execute. Okay, see, it's failing. It's saying java.lang assertion exception fail, JSON path name doesn't match. Okay, so let's see what is happening. JSON path name doesn't match. You know, here, let's see where, which line it is failing, so we can understand it. So we have to Java 21 post API Java 21. Here it is failing in this line. Okay, so because this path that we have provided, um, I think we have given more parentheses, extra parentheses here. Let's see now what is there. Just give me a second, friends. So what I will do. Okay, friends. So here actually, if you read this, right, it's saying expected is Braque, but actual is Morpheus. So actually, here we did the mistake here, right? So in the assertion, we are saying name equals to Braque. So either we have to change it here or we have to change it there. So that's the reason. This is the mistake that we are doing. So now, okay, let's see what is this. Okay, so now let's see if we can execute and what has happened. Let's see. Okay, good. So this time it's passed. So we were able to take the JSON file from the payload.json file that we have created, and then this is the static JSON. Now let's see what is the dynamic JSON. Okay, friends. So we want to see the dynamic. So let's see dynamic JSON. So let's see we will use the same post, right? We are using here. So let's see how we can do that. Now here, so let's see. Now again, this we will remove this from here. We don't want this paths.k. Okay, we just remove it from here. Let's remove it from here. Sorry, friends, till here. Okay, let's remove it till here. Okay, again, what we will do? We will do payload. We will use the Java file that we have, payload.java, right? So let's use that. Payload dot add user. We will use the JSON from here. But if you go to this payload.java file, suppose this we are creating same user every time. Now we want to provide the data. Okay, what user we want. So suppose you will say string name comma string top. Okay, so these two value we will provide in this JSON, and then this JSON will be constructed at the runtime dynamically. Okay, so here we will not use the Braque. What we will do, we will create string here, right? So here we have to concatenate here, and here we will say name plus, okay, we already is string, so this is already string. Here we have to say one time, and here we have to use like this. Okay. Oh, okay, good. So we have to use this name here and then job also. So you just remove this leader, okay, And then what we have to do, we have to introduce this, and inside this we have to say job. Okay, so it will create. Now when you are calling this method, you can provide, okay, what is the name, so name, and then what is the job. You can provide these two things, right? So you can say, okay, name is, say, you can say any name, maybe you can say Vivek, and job is, or you can say Dan, and job is, say, teacher. Okay, so we can provide it, so it will create it dynamically. So whenever you want to run this with different users, you can just change it here, right? So again, we have to change it here. Suppose you want to parameterize it even more. So what you can do, you can create one parameter annotation, if you know, right? In Selenium we already know it. So how we can do that is, let's do that. Okay, so this is a test method till here, right? So let's put it here, close the test method. Now here put one more annotation, at the rate data provider. We know this PROVI data provider we can use to provide the data. So the data provider name is, like, you can say, name is equal to, you can give any some meaningful name, like, say, create user, create user. So this is the name of our data provider. Now inside this data provider we can create some object, pub, so public, and the return type will be object, object object. So it will return, two-dimensional object, and then the name of the method is get data. You can give any name. So now let's import it. Okay, let's see, data provider, right? PROVIDER provider. Okay, let's see. First, let's return here. RBT1 return, and you want to return new object, object object, and like this, and then you can provide as many users you want, like this, and then just close this and put the semicolon here. Create annotation data provider. Okay, because it's not able to get it from the JUnit. So let's see. So here we are saying return object, that is fine. So just give me a second. So friends, if you see our pom.xml file, we have the JUnit, but we don't have test.ng. So what we can do, let's have test.ng, and then let's see if we can resolve that issue. So let's go to the Google and say test.ng Maven dependency, and let's go to this site testng.org, and let's have this dependency from here and have it in our pom.xml file here. Now see here. Okay, import. So this data provider is available in test.ng. That's why we were not able to get it. So now we got this issue resolved. And I have two users now. I want to create Brian, whose job is engineer, and Rick, whose job is developer. Okay, so we want to create this user. So now to do this, we have to also tail our test. Okay, from where you have to take the data, right? So here in the test, we can say in the parenthesis, okay, so data provider, right? So see data PROVID data provider is equal to create user. So you can just say create user. Okay. So this is my data provider. That's what you want to say. So if you see here, it's again giving some error. So data provider saying the attribute data provider is undefined. Okay. So let's see. Control S. Data provider, everything looks good, but still we have this error here. So um, let me resolve it first. what we can do is, okay, okay friends, so here we have this JUnit test, right? So let's try to import, I think, testng, because we have a data provider in testng, and then maybe it's not comfortable. So we can do like this. Now let's control S and let's first import the test. Okay, so come down and go here. So in import the test from testng, and then this issue is resolved. Okay, so now we are seeing, okay, data provider is here. If you want, you can increase maybe one more parameter. It's up to you how many parameters you want. So let me increase one more maybe. So here we will say the name is maybe Ellen, and BORD. Okay. So now we have three users. So we are providing this data here in this test. Okay, because we are saying, okay, add user. So here in this add user, we will, what we will say, instead of saying this, we will we will provide this. We will not hard fix it here. Now since we have the value, what we can do, we will provide so here we have to provide two things. Okay, so let's see, we have, just give me a second. So here, in this method itself, we will provide the value first. So let's say string 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 name, comma str string job, and here we will say add user name, comma job. That's it. And here, since we already have one name, so actually we will we will just say name one here something, because we already have it there. So let's, okay, and now let's execute our test. Okay, so let's execute this. So this time we are dealing with a dynamic JSON, right? So let's see. Okay, so three failures, and now it's running as a test ng. So it's saying three failed. Okay, so let's see why it is failing. So maybe we are saying name equals to Barak. So this name cannot be equal to Barak, but it will be equal to name itself, and name. If you want to see, maybe if you go to results here, right, and you can see brand is not matching, right? So that's the reason. Let's run it one more time. Okay, so let's go to the console. Okay, so again it's saying three failed. Okay, so it's saying Java and file invalid path exception. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. So we are saying, okay, friends. So you know what? We have to remove this all. Actually, we have to remove it all body. So we did this. We don't need it anymore. So we will just, we'll say payload dot add user, and here we don't need all these things. So just remove it. Okay. So that's the thing. Now let's run it. Since we are using only payload dot add user, right? That's why we don't need anything from payload JSON. So that's the reason we have to change our syntax accordingly. Now if you run it, and this time it looks good, everything is good, and see, everything is passed. So it ran 3 times because we did the parameterization, and every time our JSON that we have here, right, in this is changing. It's a dynamic JSON. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.